Welcome in, hunters. Today I am here with iBUYpremiums, who is the king of Great Ones. He currently has 267 Great Ones, 3 of which are Great One Wolves, and today he is going to show us exactly how to herd manage your Grey Wolf grind here in Yukon Valley. Right, iBUY?
Absolutely, yeah.
So we're going to go through everything you need to know to set up and run this grind. Now, this will work on any of the maps that have Grey Wolves, so you can do this on Yukon, in a ski ridge, or in Medved Taiga. But here in Yukon, wolves drink from 0 to 3. Now, before we head into it, let me know in the comments what your absolute dream Great One Wolf is, and definitely show iBUY some love. Now, what is the very first thing someone should do when they want to set up and start a wolf grind here in Yukon?
So for me personally, I like to set my time to about 1:30. That seems to get them into their zones more frequently. Usually early on, they're not quite getting into them yet. And even at 1:30, a lot of times it takes a little bit of time to get there. So I set my time to 1:30, and then I basically go run around and start looking for my zones at that point.
Okay. And you discover all of your zones?
No. So like that's actually the really interesting thing about this grind is that you can kind of get out there, and as you're finding these packs, right? When you find a good pack in a zone, you can basically set up on that zone at that moment, and then continue on and find more zones. This particular lake, I have 2 zones, so I'm actually using 3 tents to hunt 2 zones just for faster collection, right? But I got to shooting on this map well before I found all my zones.
And how many zones are there here in Yukon?
General average is around 35 to 40 zones. Like currently I'm looking at, I have 37 zones total, so.
And you do not have to find all your zones to get consistent respawns for any predator, so don't worry about finding all of your drink zones.
So with this being a predator too, a lot of people are confused early on thinking that it's going to be like fox, like you have to shoot male and female. You don't have to do that. As much like a herd species where you only have to shoot males from the group. I recommend shooting 2 per pack that you see, and just, you know, obviously picking those up and then going to your next zone to shoot that as well.
Yeah, and you want to shoot your 2 biggest males, right?
Right.
So this is what iBUY recommends for your starting loadout. So we have the Arzina 300, which comes in the high caliber weapon pack. We have the Zarza 308, or any class 4 to 8 rifle. The Zarza 308 comes in the Modern Rifles DLC. And I run with the Hansen 30-06. Doesn't matter which rifle, as long as it is going to give you integrity. Then you want to have matching ammo. Now, iBUY uses the Odin. I use the Angler scope. You can use either one, whatever you prefer. And the Angler scope comes in the Scopes and Crosshair DLC. Then we have the Predator Jackrabbit collar. You can also use the Predator Distressed Fawn collar. They are both non-DLC collars, but the Predator Jackrabbit collar comes with the game, so grab a collar. Then iBUY uses Apex View binoculars, and I prefer the Gen Zeros, but grab yourself a good pair of binoculars. And then we are both using backpacks since they were fixed with the last update, so you can fit tents and either tripods or duck blinds. And these waterfowl blinds come in the duck and cover DLC. But that is what you want to carry when you are setting up. Do you carry this for the entire grind, iBUY?
I have been, yeah. I don't see any reason not to. So with the update 8.3, with them having the backpack with the lower spook radius and everything like that, I haven't noticed any issue with it at all.
Yeah, I know. I actually grinded last night live, guys, and I had a backpack on, and I didn't realize it, and I didn't even notice until I went to change my inventory this morning. So, backpacks are definitely spooking a lot less. Okay, so you recommend that they set up while they are finding their zones?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, and what is your recommendation for setting up?
So I like to set up just over 200 meters from the zone because the fast travel
for the tent
spook radius for the tent is 200 meters, right? So if you set up about 210, 220 meters away, you'll be able to safely fast travel to that tent in the future without spooking. Now, the placement spook radius is 250 meters. So if they're currently in the zone when you place that tent at 210, 220, they will run away.
Yep.
But they'll come back and it'll be just fine after that, right?
But you know what I do? I shoot them and then I drop my tent.
That also works. That also works.
Yep.
Again, on this one, you can shoot them before finding all your zones and stuff. One kind of thing with them, too, for a lot of people, the zones have been much more consistent when there's smaller zones. So like a group of 5 seems to respawn better than like say a massive group of like, 15 or whatever like that.
I did not know that. Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know
like
that.
you get a group of 5 and you get more consistent respawns. Now, with that being said, they can still bounce, and wolves do bounce a lot. So definitely be prepared to run around and, find other exterior zones and bouncers in the future. But generally speaking, you can set up on 8 zones and rotate through them without a problem.
Okay, so you're going to be setting up on 8 zones. That's all you set up on when you're herd managing?
Yeah, in fact, I've done really well with 6 zones. The thing is, with herd managing your zones, right, you're going to pick several, and over time, you'll obviously pick them, based on you like them shooting. Maybe the wolves show up there more frequently or whatever, right? But if you have like 6 of those zones being like your mains for the time being, and, you get a couple other zones out there that are going to be considered exteriors. As you shoot those down, you just pick up the tent and move it over to another zone.
Okay, so let me get this straight, because I'm actually not following.
Oh, okay.
You're setting up on how many zones to start with?
Like about 8 to 10.
Okay, you're starting off with 8 to 10, and of those 8 to 10, how many are considered main zones that you will consistently use throughout the grind?
Like 6.
It's like 6. Okay. So you have 6 main zones, and then so if you're set up on 10, 4 of them you are going to be shooting down, and those 4 you will move as they shoot down, right?
Right.
Okay,
right.
I'm with you. I getcha.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure everybody understands that. So
and the whole reason is because, so the reason I'm doing it this way with wolves especially, right, is that with their respawns being really good the way that they have been, even if you do 6 and 2, right, then that gives you a shooting tent and a collection tent at 8 different zones, right? And so if you maintain 6 as your main zone and 2 as exterior, you're able to quickly get through it because you have a shooting and a collection tent at each one.
Yeah, that's the way I set up. That is the way to go. You don't want to have to run to pick up your kills because that wastes a pile of time.
Right.
Absolutely. Okay.
So I think that grabbing a zone map to see where all they can spawn is really important to have that just along the way. But
and I have a map for every species in the game in my Discord, and I will leave the link. So there are about, 35 to 40 drink zones for wolves here in Yukon?
Yep.
And they should have at least 2 males and at least 2 females in the zone, shouldn't they?
Right, yep.
Okay.
But also don't be scared to shoot big zones too. I mean, I started shooting the large zones as well. What you're going to notice though is that as you shoot those larger zones, you're just going to have more of those bouncing out and around.
Yeah, they dwindle. They get smaller.
Right.
Absolutely. Okay, so then with the herd management part, how many of these 8 zones are main zones?
I like to keep about 6. 6 of them as main zones, and then 2 as tents that I plan on moving around, or setups that I plan on moving around as those exterior lakes get kind of shot down and stuff. I'll shoot them down to level 5 and under.
Okay.
And when they reach that point, I'll pick up that setup and move it to another zone.
And how do they shoot them down?
So you're rotating all of your zones at the same time. So all 8 setups that you have, you're going to rotate. And
what are they shooting?
Literally, just as a shooting rule of thumb for herd management, you're going to be shooting level 6 and above. In your main zones, it's better to shoot the lower level ones. That way you can get those smaller respawns to kind of transfer out to the exterior zones faster as well.
Okay. So you're going to shoot the smaller ones first, but then after you've done that, you're going to shoot the 2 largest males from every zone, right?
Right.
Okay. So what that means, guys, is you're going to have 6 zones are going to be your main zones. Those are the zones you're going to be rotating on for the duration of the grind. The other 2 zones you want to shoot down. Now, are you stacking?
I'm stacking now just because I'm already about like 3,000 kills into it, and so I'm definitely trying to just get my herd management much more fine-tuned.
But do you recommend that people stack?
I did not stack at the beginning, and just through naturally shooting that level 6 and above, I got my dime rate down to about like 1 in 22, so I don't really think that it's necessary, to be honest. You can just get out there and start grinding straight away.
Okay.
Shoot the diamonds as they show up.
So there you go. You do not have to stack your diamonds in order to shoot down. Just keep rotating on your 8 zones with a shooting tent and a pickup tent. And basically, what iBUY just said to me is if it's a 5, it stays alive. So if you find 5s or below at exterior zones, that is what you want. Then you pull up your tent and your blind and you go set up on another zone. And you keep doing that until all of the zones that are not main zones, all exterior zones, have either 5s or 4s in them. Is that correct?
That's right, yeah.
All right. I'm with you. And so it's actually a pretty simple grind.
It is. This is actually one of the easier grinds. I mean, I don't think that I've actually set up and enjoyed a grind this much as of recently, right? Like the respawns have been really good. I'd say probably the only thing is them being in their zones.
I think we're getting attacked.
We're about to get attacked,
yeah.
We're gonna get attacked by a couple of 9s right now.
I'm not gonna shoot anything. Uh-oh! How you doing?
Oh.
That's right. Be off with you. Beat it. Okay. Where were we?
That'll happen as well, by the way. They will attack you.
You know what? I carry a bow with me in case I get attacked so that I have reduced hunting pressure and I will not blow out my zone.
Oh, that's really smart. I usually just, I'll have blinds on me and I usually throw down a blind and I'll hop inside the blind.
Well, that's a good idea too. Now, I am noticing in the grind that a lot of times I will come to a zone and I will only have one male. What do you do in that circumstance?
So for that, I will actually just shoot the male just to keep the grind going. So sometimes I feel like maybe the respawns just didn't happen or they're hanging up or something, and if I only have one to shoot there, I'll go ahead and shoot it.
What happens if you come back and it continues to just have one in it? Because I actually will go in and shoot a male and a female, so it opens up a spot for another male to jump in.
I mean, a lot of people do that as well. I personally don't, but generally if you only have one male in there and it stays consistent that way, that usually means that you had a male bounce somewhere else, right?
And they bounce a lot in this grind, right?
They do. They do. I've shot zones down to all 5 and below and females, and I've pulled up my setups from there, and I've moved on and shot down other things, and then I got to a point where I was like, okay, well, I'm going to rerun my map and check things out, because just the numbers seem weird. It seems like, you know, there's something missing here, there, and then I'll go run those exteriors again, and actually just the other day I found a 7 and a 9, a guaranteed diamond in an exterior zone that I had previously shot down, right? So
yeah,
it's definitely worth taking a look at your exteriors.
So how often do you do that?
Honestly, that was after 2,000 kills where I actually spawned my first great one. I went and just reran the map to just see how, and so I mean I shot for 2,000 kills and everything was fine, right? Mm-hmm. Like I was able to get to and spawn the great one, but there were bouncers that I had found after that.
Yeah, they love to bounce, that's for sure. So you need to check your exteriors every once in a while. If you find your herd management is not working, if your diamond rate dips or you're getting smaller respawns, time to check those exteriors. Would you agree?
Definitely. So I would say that the main thing with this grind is don't be overly critical, right? It's a pretty simple grind to set up. It's really easy to get into it. Now, you can get a great one really quick, or it could take you a long time. However, as long as you're getting good respawns and as long as you can see yourself spawning diamonds and stuff like that, just continue grinding what you're set up on and you're going to be just fine until you get a great one.
Absolutely. And this is definitely one of the easiest grinds in the game. If you have never done a great one grind, the wolf grind is a great one to start with.
I agree. They pay really well. The respawns are good. It's super easy to set up.
Yeah, you don't even have to find all your zones.
yeah, you can go eat. This is the lazy man's grind, you know?
It really is. So what would you recommend for people who are complaining that they are not getting respawns? Because I hear that a lot.
So I think that if you're not getting respawns at all, right? So you're either just not shooting enough zones, which I feel like for wolves, you really don't have to shoot that many to get your respawns, or they've bounced out on you, right? So one of those two things, but I feel like if you set up on 8 zones, you should be getting respawns.
Another thing is, if you come to a zone and there is nothing there, I will exit to the main menu and come back, and they are usually then there like 90% of the time. I find that the 1 minute trick doesn't really work for wolves. Have you found the same thing, iBuy?
Yeah, I feel like for the most part, it's not really worth it to do the 1 minute trick on them.
No.
And a lot of times whenever you come out, so like as soon as you main menu and come back in, if you look at the zone and they're not there, a lot of times it takes just a couple of seconds there, like 10 seconds or more, for them to actually just to appear.
Yeah.
Like they actually like just straight up pop up out of thin air, right?
If you show up, they will show up. Just be a little bit patient.
Right.
how should people deal with solo zones when they're doing a herd managed grind?
So without stacking, what I would suggest with them is if you find large solos, right? I like to shoot them and obviously pick it up and then go right back to setups that you already have and try and focus on shooting smaller animals in those zones and picking them up as well. And with the wolves, you got to be, I think, quicker because I feel like they respawn a lot faster. Now, I still feel like, you know, RNG is a big part in it. And, you know, the best we can hope for is that we do get a large respawn in our zone and a small exterior in the solo. But just through trial and error and running your map and finding these solos, you'll get it nailed down.
Do you recommend that people stack 9 legendaries in this grind or not?
I think that if you just want an easy grind, you don't necessarily have to, but I think that if you really want to fine tune your grind and make sure you're shooting down all your solos, it makes it easier if you do stack 9s.
Okay, so then if they do stack 9s, then they should deal with their solos after they have as many 9s stacked as possible?
Yes.
And after they've dealt with their herd zones, then they're going to deal with the solo zones.
Right, because it's a lot of shooting and then running around and searching for the respawns for them and stuff. But again, that's just if you want to take your herd management further.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go through this how to herd manage wolves in a nutshell. So correct me if I'm wrong. This is what you're saying. So basically, set the time to 1:30 if you're doing the grind here in Yukon, where wolves drink from 0 to 3. Then you want to go start looking for your zones. So start looking. When you find a zone, you can set up right away. You want to drop your tent about 230 meters, and you can drop your blind or tripod right outside the tent, and you can start shooting. You want to shoot 2 males from every zone. And if you can find smaller zones, they're better than bigger zones, but whatever zones you find, as long as there's 2 males and 2 females, shoot the 2 males. In main zones, you're going to be shooting these smaller wolves to get them to bounce out sooner, and then once they're gone, you can shoot the bigger ones. But other than that, set up on 8, herd manage 2 of them, 6 are mains, and you don't have to stack. And so basically just keep rotating on all 8 at the same time. And when you get to an exterior zone, if you have 5s or below there, you can pull up your tent and your tripod or blind, go set up on another exterior zone, and continue to do that until you have no more exterior zones with anything bigger than a 5 in them. Once your exterior zones are shot down, then it is time to deal with the solo zones. So get the solo zones shot down, and at that point, you can just grind your main zones after that and continue to check exteriors when necessary. How's that?
Yeah, and so like with the final goal just being set up on 8 zones with shooting and collection tents and everything else outside of that, level 5 and below, once you get to that point, you should have a disgusting grind that's producing a lot of really good trophies for you.
Yeah, and you should have a pretty high diamond rate too.
Definitely.
Now, another thing I wanted to mention, that it is a good idea to do the grind with a tracker dog. I am using my retriever, but it also is a tracker. And while the dogs were fixed with the last update, they are still not perfect. They do travel with us, and I still find my dog very helpful for finding my kills because it can be very hard to see those wolves under the brush. Sometimes the dog refuses to track. What do you do to fix that?
Right, yeah. A lot of times I notice that whenever I set my dog to track, it'll go idle, like directly. It'll run over, it'll find a blood track, and then it just goes idle. So what I'll do is I will track myself, like up to the next blood spot, and I'll just set it to retrack again, and a lot of times it'll actually like pick up the trail and go from there. So if you experience that, try and just track the blood a little bit yourself and reattach the dog to tracking.
Perfect. Yeah, that's awesome.
Because it is actually insanely hard sometimes to spot some of the prey in the brush, so getting them to actually do the harvest found is nice.
All right, well, there you have it, guys. That is how to herd manage wolves from iBUY himself. And definitely go and show iBUY some love. He streams just about every day on Twitch, and he is always doing the grind. I will leave his link on the screen and in the description below, and leave him a sub on YouTube for his Call the Wild videos. And if you did enjoy the video, definitely go ahead and splat that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, share the video, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what your dream Great One Wolf is. And as always, thank you so much for watching.